So in essence, what these Chinese factories have done by revealing all their factories and all these influencers on TikTok, the China side of TikTok, in essence, what the Chinese government has done has said that this market for the United States is over. This market for overpriced goods and everything like that is over. There literally no brand is going to be able to effectively charge the U.S. consumer goods at an exorbitant price because all things have been put in the daylight.
So I can't quite say that people aren't going to still be willing to pay for overpriced goods. Every fool has the right to be Barnum and Bailey and scammed. They just simply have the obligation and the duty to choose whether or not they're going to take part in the scam, right? Because now you know. What China has done, and this is what I was talking about, I've been talking about this for months. What China is doing, yes, it is self-serving. All of the allowing Americans to stay on red note, it was the correct maneuver. It wasn't. They weren't trying to be benevolent. They were trying to give Americans the opportunity to see who they are, right? To understand that they are not what American propaganda has made of them. And it allowed Americans to see what's going on in China, what a country looks like when a country invests in its people. It's been a long time. It's been a really long time since Americans saw what that looks like. It's been a really, really long time since Americans have seen what a country looks like that invests in its people, in its infrastructure. It's been a long time since they've seen a country that innovates, that's not stifling competition, and that is putting the average citizen in a place to which they're not being taxed into into poverty. Like where I live, I have sales tax, I have property tax, and then I'm paying federal tax. And people move into my state under the delusion that they're not being heavily taxed. And it's extreme. Even to drive to your own job, you're paying, instead of the state using all the tax money that they're collecting to create free roads and bridges, they privatize the roads. So you're paying for that too. And so people are looking up and they're leaving because they're saying, like, there's going to be a big ditch that's coming. It happens in my state. I've watched it over the years. I was born and raised in my state. And I've watched it for decades. People come here, they think under the delusion that things are cheaper. They bring their equity, and then they come here and they realize they're being taxed into an oblivion. And you don't get anything for it. Our infrastructure is crumbling. Our schools, your kids more likely, like if you put your kid in a public school, they're more likely to be unalived by a gunman. So then you're also paying for private school. So what people are realizing in my state is that it's just not worth it. I don't even see why people move here. I really don't. I don't see, because the equity, people come here because they think you can bring the equity and things are going to be cheaper. It's just not the case. But what I'm going to say for America, same thing. People are trying to immigrate to America and they come here and they see that it is not what the propaganda makes it out to be. So I'll get back to my original topic, which is this, is that the enemy of your enemy is your friend. And in this situation, I am not praising China as a deliverer of Americans or Americans. What China is doing is not benevolent. Okay? China is investing in itself and its people. They're doing the same thing America would do, but more effectively and efficiently. It's why their goods are sought after. They've taken the past years to create a society of workers who are highly skilled and capable, and they will be taking themselves into the future into a better place. America thinks that it can be an imperialist and it can make every person into a soldier. It's the 1%, and their idea of a prosperous America is one in which everyone is subjugated except for them. Their children have the opportunity opportunity. Their children have the good places to live, and they don't actually have a vision for all Americans. They don't care about the American dream. They don't care about the American people. They simply care about more ones and zeros in their bank accounts. So Americans are going to have a revolution and rise up, because you are not safe. They do not care that they have turned America. They do not care that they have turned America into a tinderbox. They do not care. They do not care if you cannot pursue life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness in the American dream. They don't care. They want soldiers. They want to go out and send those soldiers out to die. They want a quiet public who goes back into the delusion that democracy works for them, and it does not. And so that's why I said that is your enemy. Greed, corruption, those are your enemies. And the enemy of your enemy is your friend. We need America that goes back to seeking competition. Competition drives down prices. You want to know why you can't afford your groceries? Did anybody have you been paying attention to the research of who all owns your food system? The enemy of your enemy is your friend in this situation, and China just happened to be the country to do it, who moves fast, who is agile, who is well-thinking, educated, skilled, and capable. They are the country that America could have been if going to a university and cost you $80,000 a year. And people need to stop calling them elites. People with money, the greedy, they're hoarders. The financial hoarders is what you need to start calling them. The financial hoarders, their view of your future is one in which you are subjugated to them perpetually. And they will call it whatever they call it. Sharecropping, minor town, slavery. They don't care. As long as it doesn't result in them being unable to do what they do and to make the money from you that they make. So Americans are going to have to fight for revolution, because those who wish you ill told you through their plans that they're doing a bloodless coup. And if you would just submit to it quietly, you might have white supremacy in the end to prop you up. It's hilarious. And so the enemy of your enemy in this situation is your friend, in that you now see, more people see. I'm one of those people who, I don't understand how people didn't see what was going on. I don't understand how people weren't paying attention to where things were manufactured and how things were made. Because if they did, they would know that what they're seeing is inevitable.